Hello there. I wanted to make a video about some of the supplements that I take that have really helped my mental health immensely because I don't want people to go through the same kind of pain that I went through. But a couple disclaimers before I begin that process. One, everyone's brain is different. Everyone's neurotransmitters work a little differently, so what was worked for me may not work exactly the same way for you. Two, if anyone takes prescription medication right now, they should not stop taking it or add anything to it without talking to their doctor. And the same goes with the rest of this stuff too. If you run anything by a doctor first. Thirdly, I do believe there's a difference between situational anxiety and depression and true mental illness. For example, if someone's on drugs or drinking daily or eating sugar all day, that might be messing with someone's mood in a different way. But if we stop taking alcohol and drugs and after 6 to 9 months or so, maybe a year, if the mental health symptoms still persist, there may be a deeper issue at hand and that needs to be addressed. I believe in a 50% science, 50% spiritual approach. What this means to me is I need the science of my neurotransmitters functioning properly, plus a good amount of exercise, a healthy diet, getting emotional needs met through friendships, social needs, and spiritual needs such as meditation, prayer, belief in a higher power. If I either have only one or the other, I'm not going to be functioning to the best of my ability. So that's another thing to keep in mind here. Just taking supplements won't change anything without doing the rest. And all the friends, family, love in the world, prayer, meditation, etc., that won't have enough of an effect either if there really truly is chemical imbalances in the brain. It needs to be 50% science and 50% spiritual. The reason I even wanted to do the natural route was because I've heard a lot of people talk about bad side effects with them, such as heavy weight gain, sexual side effects, or worst of all, that they sometimes just don't even work. And I didn't like the idea of a chemical approach either, so I decided to explore some of these natural options. The issues that I had to fight were pretty severe anxiety, and then what I later discovered to be bipolar 2. And some sobering facts about bipolar 2 are 15% who have bipolar disorder commit suicide, 50% of the people who have bipolar disorder attempt to commit suicide, and 80% of the people who have bipolar have had suicidal idealizations. I'd say that last part is definitely true for me, and I don't wish that on anyone at all. It's not a good feeling. So the following here is a compilation of a couple years of experimentation. If I had to go back and do it again, I would start off very small in some of this stuff and change only one thing at a time. I know for me, my mental health has to be my number one priority because without it, everything else can turn to shit. And I have to treat it the same way that someone who has heart disease will treat their heart disease, or someone who needs to take insulin for diabetes needs to treat that. If I don't have my mental health working properly, I can survive, but my quality of life will go way, way down. And living with untreated mental health issues is exactly like living half of a life. The quality of life is just not there. So with that being said, let's start with some of the things that have helped me with anxiety. The first thing I'd like to talk about is something called niacinamide. Niacinamide is simply vitamin B3. It has been proven in some studies to affect the brain in a very similar way as benzodiazepines do, such as clozapine and Xanax, except without the drug dependency and severe withdrawal symptoms of those drugs. So someone who has had anxiety, I'd highly recommend trying niacinamide. It actually can help people stop smoking as well because it's similar in the brain to nicotine, which is another positive side effect of it. The next thing I'd like to talk about in regards to anxiety is Gaba. Gaba is a neurotransmitter in the brain. People who have too low Gaba are subject to not quality sleep and to having some bad anxiety. I take GABA at nighttime, and it's really helped my anxiety and my sleep as well. A couple things very similar to GABA, which are building blocks of GABA, are taurine, which is an amino acid that helps cellular health and helps to form GABA in the brain, which is good. And another one, glutamine. Glutamine is another building block of GABA, and it supports things like muscle and immune health too. Crosses the blood-brain barrier, which also helps. If depression is more of your problem, the thing that's helped me the most in regards to depression is SAMe. Now, SAMe needs to be taken with vitamin B6, B12, and folic acid. Now, the B vitamins, they're very good for energy and overall bodily health. But if you don't take it with B12, B6, and folic acid, it won't work properly. For me, it's been the most powerful effect on depression. However, a couple caveats with it. If someone also has anxiety, when I stopped taking it for a little while, I did have worse anxiety afterwards. That was not a pleasant experience, and full disclosure, that did happen. All the rest of the things I've talked about here, the anxiety or withdrawal, is negligible at best. Another thing that helps with depression, 5-HTP, which is a building block / precursor to serotonin. Serotonin is one of the neurotransmitters in the brain that really affects our mood. And it just makes sure our serotonin levels are functioning properly. People who have low serotonin are more likely to be depressed, more likely to not sleep through the night, and just overall going to have some fatigue and lack of energy throughout the day. So taking something like 5-HTP could really help your mood. The last antidepressant in a natural form is Phenylalanine. This actually helps to increase dopamine, norepinephrine, and epinephrine in the brain. People who are depressed have been found to have low levels of those neurotransmitters. And then to go back, the SAMe that I talked about previously, that helps with dopamine and serotonin in the brain too. A lot of this stuff has to do with neurotransmitters, as you can see. And I would prompt anyone to do their research about it. That's what I did. I did research. I looked it all up. I saw the symptoms of low or high serotonin, dopamine, norepinephrine, epinephrine, GABA, etc. And I did my best to try to complete the puzzle. Now, if someone's bipolar, those antidepressants I just spoke about have the tendency to make people either manic or rapid cycle, which, if anyone who's bipolar here, that's not a good thing. So one thing that's extremely helped me in that regard is lithium orotate. This is a natural alternative to a lithium carbonate that is prescribed by doctors, except the fact that you don't need to have the blood tests that are required with lithium carbonate. And with lithium orotate, it actually gets absorbed into the body better, and it's a healthier version for you, and it's much cheaper, and it helps stabilize my mood. So I can take those antidepressants and not go through the roof or cycle down into the dark side, which is also not good. Now, a couple other things here just for overall bodily health. People who may experience seasonal depression when light gets dark about 5 o'clock or so, vitamin D3. Vitamin D3 is good for bone health, muscular health, and it's called the sunlight vitamin. It's what the sun gives us. So if someone gets depressed in the wintertime, perhaps taking some vitamin D3 could be a natural alternative out of that. It's also been shown to, in men, help increase testosterone production too, which also is a good thing. One thing to help my gut health has been a perfect biotic. What this is billions of bacteria that help our gut flora. This has helped my digestive system, it's helped my intestinal health, and I think it's made the rest of the supplements that I take actually work better too, because it's improved my mood as well. One of my own conclusions about this, I don't think there's any studies about this, is the majority of serotonin is actually made in the gut. So I think taking that perfect biotic has actually really helped my serotonin production as well. The last thing I'd like to talk about here is choline. Choline just helps with memory retention, helps with brain functioning, and also can be used as an anti-aging device, anti-aging supplement, I should say. And it's really helped me in many ways. So this is the building blocks of my routine here. This is what's worked for me. Hopefully someone could find something that watches this video that could really help them and could really change their life, because the routine I have found has most certainly changed my life for the better, and it's helped me to live more of a complete life today that my mental health before was really preventing me from doing a lot of the things I wanted to do. With that, thanks for tuning in. Hopefully I've given you some information or some value here that could really change your life. Have a good one.